A few months ago, I decided to leave behind everyone I knew and move to a new city. After a few weeks of mostly sitting in my room making YouTube videos, I decided that I should probably venture out into the world and try to make some friends. I tried improv, but it was full of people who were 10 years older than me, who had already formed close friendship circles with each other. And so I shifted my tactic. I started doing free dance classes run by a local university. Now there were people my age, and most of them were also looking for friends. The only problem was, I didn't like dancing. Every week I dragged myself to the class and told myself, this time, you're gonna make a friend. And every week I rode my bike home with sore legs, got home past my bedtime, well past, and crawled into bed alone. The stress of trying to make friends was eating at my soul. This wasn't working. It just wasn't. Now, okay, hold on. There is one small detail of this story that I may have forgot to mention. I didn't actually move. You see, making friends is just a fundamental skill that everyone is going to need. Everyone is going to face the problems I faced in that story at some point in their life, maybe multiple times. So I'm hoping that whether you have moved, you haven't moved, you've lied about moving, this video is going to serve you now and for the rest of your life. Because the 5 steps I'm going to explain sure as hell serve me. Step 1, find an activity. There's 5 requirements for the activity and 1 bonus requirement, and these are centered around enjoyment both for you and the other person, because we want to make this stuff fun, and the fun stuff, if you make it fun, it's also more effective. So the activity you pick, and I'll explain how to find one, must be within your price range. It mustn't be absolutely crazy, and it must fit with your schedule. This is so underrated. Like, if you pick an activity that is just messes up like a full day of work normally, or like it's just after something else after work, you're not going to want to go, and therefore, if you do go, your performance is gonna be worse, or sometimes you won't go. Either way, you're going to enjoy it less, and that's not what we want. So please pick something that actually works for you. It also has to be fun, and this is both for you and the other person. If you're having fun, it's more likely that you're going to connect. And when you're having fun, you're more social, you're more confident, you're funnier. Everything about you is better when you're having fun. Therefore, you're a better person to be friends with. So do stuff that you find fun. It also has to be, at least some of the people have to be roughly your kind of people. Now, you don't have to have a specific checklist or a type or whatever, but there has to be people there who you like and you are interested in. You can't judge this before you go, so you kind of have to go and then see. So I would recommend just looking around on like the first day, chatting to everyone. After the first day, you'll have an idea. Is there people here who I'm interested in being friends with? If there's not, maybe that's okay to still go, because it'll expand your horizons, you'll see all these new perspectives, but you have a lower chance of making friends. And you want to do at least one activity where you have a chance of making like friends and building a friendship circle. And the last requirement is that it has to be easy to socialize either during, before, or after. So people hang around after. You know, if everyone just shows up to the activity, does the thing and leaves, is not good. Like, I started doing social soccer this semester. I show up to the game, everyone shows up like 5 minutes before, we chat for 5 minutes, we play the game, and then we leave. It's fun and there's shared bonding, but there's no time to chat. And so I'm not gonna make any friends there. Like, just being honest, it's not gonna work. So make sure there's some chances to actually get some good chats in, and you can create these. You can, see if people wanna chat as they're walking back to the car after the soccer game or whatever. But there has to be a chance. Otherwise, there's no point. And the bonus requirement is that people go there to make friends. This isn't essential. You can make plenty of friends by just being like a fun person to be around and having lots in common, even if people weren't looking for friends. But if they are looking for friends, well, that just makes it so much easier. You'll be more confident. It'll be easier to go up and talk to people. People will come up and talk to you. It won't always be you having to do it. There won't be these closed friendship circles, so it'll be easier to form groups. There's so many ways in which this can help. Also, people will be more willing to hang out with you. Now, I go to weekly dinners with strangers from an app called Time Left, which you may want to do. The people there are so willing to hang out with just random strangers who they've met once, because you literally go there to make friends. But you have to still enjoy it. You have to want to go. If the activity itself isn't good, you're not going to make a friend, even if everyone there wants to make friends. So that's why it's a bonus requirement. So the way you find these activities is make a list of all the stuff you've done in the past, even if it was as a kid, and then ask ChatGPT for a list and just go like, that looks fun, you know, check all the requirements. And then you go on Instagram or something, or you go on Google, make sure you stalk their Instagrams a bit, see if there's people your age, and then you show up and you have to give it a chance. You have to go once. You maybe even have to go twice. You can't decide everything just from the Instagram page, or even worse, just from like a vague idea of what this might be like and the type of people who might be there. You have to go to new things. And this is excellent confidence practice, going to these new things, because you're going out of your comfort zone. And every time you go to a new thing, you get better at going to new things. Step 2 is to go to that activity. You should probably, you know, find an activity. Don't just watch this video and do nothing. Step 3 is to get Instagrams or Facebooks if you're elderly. The reason is it's less daunting than getting a number. It's less weird than getting a Snapchat. And it is less daunting to invite someone out once you have their Instagram. I have found that if I want to invite someone out and I don't have their Instagram, I have like kind of less evidence that they like me, you know, but if I get their Instagram first, maybe I send a text back and they're like, oh, it was so good to hang out with you. That's just confirmation. And it's just something about having someone's Instagram, you just feel more connected to them. I guess it's because like, if you have their Instagram, if you never see them again, you've got them there. But whereas it's a bit like stressful and tenuous if you don't have their Instagram, because what if they just stop coming? Like, what's the point of talking to them if they just stop coming one week? They're gone, you can't find them again. So just get Instagrams, and no one is going to say no to giving you their Instagram. They might then ghost you once you have their Instagram, but everyone will give you their Instagram. Step 4 is to reflect after each time you go to one of these things at a convenient time of day. Remember, we're trying to make sure we're actually consistent in doing this. And what do you reflect on? Get out a journal and a pen and write down who you want to get to know better. Write down one thing you could improve, one thing you did well, and if you want to invite anyone out to hang out, and then stop thinking about it. Put away the journal, put away your thoughts. They're in the book, they're not in your head. Journaling after social events has changed my life. It has made it more fun, and I have improved faster, because if you don't reflect, you can learn by just your brain unconsciously recognizing patterns, but you can learn faster if you reflect, because then you can go like, oh, I didn't know how to do this. You look up a YouTube video and so on. You improve faster. And you can track your progress on the stuff you're working on. You can track your progress on like trying to ask better questions and, you know, all that stuff. It helps you improve faster. And this can be a social skill, or it can be logistical. Maybe you would just want to get there earlier so you can chat to people more. That's an improvement. You know, it's going to help you make friends. And I wouldn't have expected this, but actually writing down the one thing I want to improve actually makes me feel less bad about myself, because I'm acknowledging that I've got one thing to improve. I've not got all these things in the back of the mind of like, oh, maybe I did this, maybe I did this. No, I've just got one thing which I've actually articulated, and I've got a plan for how I'm going to improve it. Even if it's just, I'm going to focus more on this, that's the plan. It's better than just, oh, I sucked at all these things. And you'll feel even better about yourself when you write down one thing you did well. And this will help you see your progress, which will give you confidence, and it will make you happier. It's not going to somehow make you worse to acknowledge that you've done something well, and you will have done something well every single time. So write it down. And then as for who you want to talk to and if you want to invite anyone out, you need to think about these things quickly rather than spending the whole day thinking, oh, I should probably invite this person out, but what if they say no? All this thinking can just take up hours and all this distraction. When if you just sit down and you just write it out, just, do I want to hang out with this person? You know, do I want to see them one more time outside of this? Then it's easy, it's a lot quicker. Obviously, you're still going to be thinking about it, but it makes it easier. And then for who you want to talk to when you're there next time, maybe you actually don't want to talk to some people. Maybe you have different people you want to focus on. You're basically picking who you might want to become friends with, who you want to invest in. And this is actually a tough decision. Like for me, I really struggle to work out who I want to be friends with. Like it's difficult, and I would be thinking about it all day if I didn't just write it down and go, okay, this person. And it's not, oh, I want to be best friends with you one day. You don't have to have certainty. It's just, do I want to get to know them better? Or am I not interested in getting to know them better? And that's a tough decision for me. So I like to write it down. And then once you've done all these steps, you stop thinking about it as best as you can, because you remind yourself, I've already worked this out. I've done the thinking. It's in my journal. So there's no need to do any more thinking. If there is, get the journal back out, keep writing. Once you close the journal, you're done. There's no need to think about it throughout your entire workday and throughout your leisure time, because it will stress you out, believe me. Especially if you move to a new city or if you're really focused on building a new friendship circle, this can be a massive stress, like the biggest stress of your life. So it doesn't need to be that way if you can try your best to contain it to a slither of the day rather than the entire day. And step 5, the last step, is to invite people out. 100% of the friends you will make and will ever make and have made, you invited them out, or they invited you out. But let's be real, like, if you're trying to make friends, you got to invite them out. If you're interested in getting to know them better and you think you have a chance, invite them out. If you don't think you have a chance, like you think it's a Hail Mary, but you're really desperately you want to make friends, don't invite them out. If you don't have fun talking to them, but you're really desperate to make friends, don't invite them out. And if you ask confidently and lightly and in the right way, it's not going to be awkward if you see them again. It's just going to be like, oh, this person likes me. I don't really like them, but they like me. That's good, right? It's not going to be like, oh, I need to get away from that clingy person, if you ask in the right way. And the way you ask in the right way is you throw like a statement to gauge interest. Oh, we should hang out sometime. Oh, we should study together. Oh, we should go to the gym. Oh, we should, continue to do rock climbing after this class ends together. If they go like, yeah, don't invite them out. If they go like, yeah, invite them out. It's as simple as that. And you'll get better at gauging the responses and trying to work it out. But unless you have clear evidence that they were like, no, I don't want to hang out, or like, yeah, then like in the absence of negative evidence, it's positive evidence, invite them out. And as for picking what to invite them out to, same requirements as picking the activity, but there is a bonus. If you can do something that is productive with them, so in other words, something that they would already do that. Go to the gym with them, study with them, maybe get lunch with them if it's like bringing you lunch and just eating together. If they like being around you, you are going to make an activity they're already doing better. The exception is if they like doing that activity by themselves. But stuff like going to the gym and studying, I found people are so down to do that. It's not even like you have to be close friends, because going on some elaborate thing like going to mini golf, you've got to be friends to do that. But just, studying before you see them in the class, that's pretty low effort and low commitment. It doesn't mean that you're friends, and so they're more likely to agree. But if you want to invite them to do something fun, go bowling or whatever, it'll probably work. Like, people like doing fun stuff. Why would they not want to get invited out to do something fun? So find an activity, go to that activity, get Instagrams like crazy, reflect after the activity, and then invite people out. Once you do that, once you've invited people out, you've gotten out of orbit. That's rockets you've used 90% of their fuel just getting off the ground. You've gotten off the ground once you've invited people out. And then it's just a waiting game. You've just got to find people who you have stuff in common with. You may need to improve your social skills along the way, but hey, that's exactly what these 5 steps do. They say strangers are just friends we haven't met yet. So the only question left is, are you ready to go out there and meet some of your friends? Have a great day.